What's up, guys? My name is Frankie, and this is Floors of Discomfort Dev Update number 7. Now, I was supposed to get this update out about 2 weeks ago, but I wasn't able to get around to it because there's a lot of other stuff that had to be done before I can get this update out. But we've got most of that stuff done, and I think that we're at a point now where creating a new dev update it's pretty much due. So, yeah. There's a lot of stuff that has gone on during this development period. I'm hoping I'm going to be able to get to all of it, but if I can't, I'm gonna leave a link to a blog post in the description that I wrote for this video, and then I have been writing for previous videos as well, but I haven't really been drawing too much attention to it. But I think it has more detail than I'm going to be able to go into in this video, and it might be more valuable for those who like to read. So yeah, let's jump right into the game and see some new changes that have been implemented. So the very first thing you're going to see is that the scale has been increased. All the sprites are larger now, and all the texture tiles are larger now, and it is looking so much better. If you've seen the previous videos, the scale of the game was extremely small, and I was getting a lot of complaints from people, and for good reason too, because it wasn't really looking the way it should be. But that's all fixed now. It did take a long time for me to do that. It must have taken me about a week's worth of development just to reprogram all the stuff that was poorly programmed, in all honesty, and get it to a better state. And here we are now at this new scale that is gonna stay because it's looking good. Alright, so now that we got that out of the way, I have a list of things that I want to talk about in this video, and I'm gonna again try to get to all of them. And the first is kind of a minor change to the game, but Jerry, the guy who does the art for this game, and he's phenomenal, by the way. If you don't already know, all of the sprites and things you see on the screen right now are all hand drawn by Jerry. So yeah, good job, Jerry. But putting that aside, let's talk about some of the changes that have been made to this game. So, two enemies have been redrawn. The first being, on this level, the Goblin, which as you can see here is different from the previous sprite's animation. Yeah, he's been redrawn, and I think he's looking better. The same concept, but he also has a death animation now, which is pretty cool. The next enemy that has been redrawn is the Rockman, and he's on floor 2, and I will get to him later, but he's looking really good now. So I'm excited to show him to you guys, but we'll get to that later. The next thing I want to go into is two new stats that have been added to the game, and those being dodging and parrying. So pretty much we've been trying to enhance the combat of this game and make it feel more satisfying. I guess that would be the word. And we've done that by adding two things. New stats, and when you hit an enemy or an enemy hits you, the sprite will flash red, which pretty much indicates that damage has been done. And if you obviously played other games, it's the same concept. So I don't really need to go into too much depth there. But yeah, it's a good addition to the combat system. So dodging and parrying, like I was saying, you can now evade enemy attacks through two ways. Dodging being available to all characters by default, and it allows you to pretty much when an enemy attacks you, you have a chance of dodging, and dodging can be done from the front or the back of the character, and all it does is you dodge the enemy's attack. Now, parrying is a little bit cooler. Parry is only available to characters that have a weapon, so knights by default, but other characters such as the pumpkin can acquire parrying through items, which I will go into later. But parrying is a is an evasive move that can only be done when you're attacked from the front, and when you get the chance to parry, the enemy will be stunned for a short period of time, which is really cool. And it was requested by a few people that I was talking to. They were telling me that there needs to be some type of dodging or something for the combat system, and Jerry and I talked about it, and we agreed that that's true, and we added it. So yeah, that's it for the combat system. I love that death animation, it's so cool. Okay, so the next thing I want to go into are the new items that have been added to the game. So previously, if you've been watching, the only items available in the game, oh, see right there, I parried him. Oh, I did it again. Holy crap. Let me just, okay, anyway. Sorry, I got sidetracked there. The only items available in the game were those found in the shop, and the only way to acquire those items was to get some coins and then go to the shop and buy those items. Now, that is still in place, and it will stay in place, but that is no longer the only way to get items. Now, there are items in these chests right here, which are scattered throughout each floor. There is one chest in each floor, and each chest holds one of 4 items. I'm going to open this one and see which one I get. Okay, so I got the meat. That just increases my attack power. There's no way to know yet that you have it. We're working on that, and that will probably be in the next update, but I'm not going to go into that now. So, like I said, 1 of 4 items in the chest that you can get, and it's all picked at random when you open it with the action key E. And the next new items that were added to the game are dropped by enemies, and they are dropped by these elite enemies. And the first elite enemy here is this plump goblin that you see spawning little goblins to attack me. So this pretty much brings me to my next point about the new enemies added to the game. And those enemies are what we call elite enemies in this game. So there is one elite enemy, or one type of elite enemy for each level. On the first level, it is this plump goblin here, as we call him, and he has a much more health than a regular enemy, obviously, and he does more damage and has multiple attacks. As you can see, the plump goblin can spawn goblins from through this portal here, and he can also spawn a what do you call it? Pentagram. Sorry, couldn't think of the word. That pretty much just brings up lava and causes damage, whatever. But it was suggested to us that there needs to be some type of mini boss kind of thing before the final Nextralis boss, and that's what these elite enemies pretty much are. They're mini bosses leading up to the ultimate boss at the end. And they also, like I said, have a chance to drop special items. There are 2 types of special items that the elite enemies can drop. The first being what you see here, these gems, which are pretty much power-ups that give you a crazy stat boost for a short period of time, this being speed. So this is probably the worst one that you can get out of all of them. There's attack increase, there's dodge and parry increase. Yeah, so that one went away. It was really quick, but That's those are power-ups. So the other type of items, or the other type of item that an elite enemy can drop are both usable and stat booster items, and both of those type of items are much more powerful than those that can be found in the shop and can be bought in the shop. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to get one of these guys to drop an elite item, but I'll try. They have a 15% chance of dropping these elite items, so they're pretty rare. Yeah, he's not dropping anything. But right now, all we have are the stat booster items in place, and I'm not going to go into detail about each item because I will probably do that in a later video when all of the items are done. But right now, there are items that I think about 6 or 7 items. I mean, I'm probably wrong in the number, but I know there's quite a few items that we have added to the game that are in the game right now that increase certain stats and give you passive abilities that will really add some, I don't know the word, but it'll add better feel to the game. It'll allow you to play your characters in different ways, which is always good for replayability. And following the stat booster items will come usable items, which are like the items you can buy in the shop, but much more powerful and will look awesome. We have this one idea for an item that will allow you to spawn a black hole that will just suck all the enemies near you in, and I'm excited to implement that one, but we haven't gotten really around to it yet. But hopefully that'll be in either the next one or the next dev update or the one after that. No promises, but we'll see what happens. So before I go on and show the rest of the elite enemies, I just want to touch upon optimization. So we've gotten to a point with this game where performance is becoming a problem, and I don't think I've ever said this in any of my videos, but the framework that I'm using to program this game is Pygame. Now, obviously, if you're a programmer, you know Python is not exactly the fastest language, and it's not always the greatest for making games, especially when they become large. But I think I'm going to be able to keep with the development for this game in Python because it hasn't really caused me too many problems so far. But there has been a lagging problem that I have fixed, but it took me about 2 hours of optimization to fix that problem, and I just wanted to say that I'm starting to have to make optimization runs, which is very interesting because I was never really expecting this game to get to that point, but I have found that over time I've learned to do certain things better, and I found some very sloppy code in my code base. But I know all you gamers out there don't really care about that, but I thought I'd touch upon that if you're a developer watching this video. So yeah, I'm done with that coding rant. Alright, so let's move on to floor 2. I'm going to go to the door, and let's talk about the ascender. Okay. So on this level, or I'm sorry, on this floor, there is an elite enemy, and he is called the Ascender. Essentially, he is this being right here, and he has 3 states. His first state being his shielded state, his next state being his state where he is shooting his shield away from you, which is his attack that causes damage, and then this state that he is in right now, his vulnerable state that allows you to attack him. He's pretty unique. There isn't any other enemy in the game that utilizes shields, so I think it's pretty cool that the Ascender does that. And he has the same stat probability, or the sorry, not stat probability of dropping gems and items as the plump goblin did in the previous floor. So I'm not going to go into that again because it's the same thing. It's going to be the same for the rest of the elite enemy. So I just wanted to show him real quick, and then we'll move on. And like I said before about the new the sprites being redrawn, this is what the new Rockman looks like. I think he might be the best animation in the game. Maybe that's just my opinion. Maybe that's weird that I say that, but I really think that he looks good. And his death animation is looking good too. Yeah. Alright, enough of that. Let's go on to the next floor. And I'll show you that next elite enemy. I was thinking about making a button where I just advance to the next floor, but then I figured I have my speed up so high it doesn't really even matter. And just so you know, I do all these videos live, so I'm actually playing the game right now as I'm talking, which is an interesting experience. So yeah, nothing new really here. All these guys are the same. Oh. Yeah, so this is the elite enemy of this level. He is essentially a tree. I'm going to find another one because he's glitched. Yeah, for some reason, these guys are glitchy. I have to fix that. I also have to fix the coins if you saw those in the floor. There's a lot of... oh my goodness. Not sure what's going on with that. This normally doesn't happen. Huh. Alright, well I'm just going to talk about him anyway. If I can... okay, I'm just going to talk about him anyway. So, besides the fact that he's floating in the air, this guy is pretty much a mutant tree, I guess you could say. He is an enemy that cannot move and will attack you when you are close to him, obviously. And he does quite a bit of damage, as the elite enemy should. So he doesn't really lose or have a disadvantage. Is at a disadvantage for not being able to move because he still has the same amount of. He's still just as dangerous. And he has two attacks. He has a slam attack, which allows him to throw his arms to his side there, and he also has his attack, which allows him to launch a sludge ball up in the air and letting it rain down on you, the player. And he has a pretty cool death animation that I'm going to show. Yeah. Oh, here we go. Okay. That's one of the stat booster items that I was talking about. So yeah, like I said, I'm not gonna go into those items in this video in too much depth because we're not really done with them yet. But I just wanted to make it known that they're there, and it's pretty cool that he dropped it. So yeah, enough of that. And I don't know why these coins are in the floor. I'm gonna have to work on that. I haven't seen that before. For some reason, all these bugs seem to pop up when I make the video. And I like to leave it in because it shows that there's still some development to go. But yeah, let's move on. So the meat room. This has a pretty interesting elite enemy. We call him the Nibbler. He is a mutant rat with no arm. With one arm, and he flies up in the air and kills you or hits you with his sword. The animation is slightly choppy right now. I think there are just too few frames for it to look the way it should, and we're going to try to fix that, hopefully. But essentially what this guy does is he jumps up in the air and attempts to stab you with his sword as he comes down. And he's quite difficult to actually hit. But yeah, that's the Nibbler. And now he's dead. I'm thinking of doing something with these spikes and these environmental hazards because I'm finding that when actually playing the game, they really cause a problem with getting around the map because you obviously don't want to hurt yourself, and sometimes there's no way around it. And I didn't really take that into consideration when implementing them, so I'm gonna have to think about some other way to put those environmental hazards in. Maybe just put them in one at a time or something. That's just a side note. Let's move on to the final boss, or the final elite enemy, as they are properly called. Okay, the door. We got some hellhounds over there. And here we go. This is the Skull Guardian. The Skull Guardian has two states. His initial flying state, which in which he shoots lasers, which is what those are, at you. And until you hit him, he will stay in the air. So as you see, I hit him, and now he came to the ground, and now he's a ground enemy, and you can do more damage to him. And what he does is essentially take his head and try to smash you over the head with it. Now he's stunned, okay. And so is he. I might have to lower that parry chance. I don't like how often that's happening. But yeah, I'm gonna find one more of those Skull Guardians because they're pretty interesting. There's a slight problem with the collision system, if you haven't already noticed, where some of these sprites don't actually touch the ground. I've been working on trying to fix that, and I have a solution, and I guess I just haven't applied it to this level yet. But I'm going to do that, so don't think I'm just ignoring those issues, because I see them, and I know there are a lot of small issues, such as the coins being in the ground, which I don't know why are happening right now. But yeah, I know. I'm trying to get to everything, and it's a slow, painful process. But it's awesome because I love developing these games, or this game. So I'm having a lot of fun. I think that's gonna do it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this was I don't know. I hope it wasn't boring to watch. It was a long process getting here, and I'm excited to see where we go from now. I have this whole to-do list that I'm hoping is the last to-do list until launch, and that includes sounds and a game trailer, as well as the website, which I'm gonna have to get to at some point. But yeah, now I'm just rambling. But thank you so much for watching, and until next time, I'll see you around.